Well, welcome to Tabbi Hour Podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome. This is a new side of the roll for me. Welcome.
It's a new side of the roll.
Welcome.
So
do Tabbi Hour Podcast.
Before we jump into the amazing story of some bar in Khailing, we have a little bit of an announcement to make that Cuzzin will be the new co-host of Tabbi Hour Podcast.
Thank you. Cough clap.
Awesome.
It's an honor to be here to join the Tabbi crew. Yeah, I mean, let's hit the show off the road. We're
gonna do some fun new stuff.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
And it's serendipitous that Khailing is the first guest that we have together, because one of the first events that I remember really meeting you was it was right after you and I did a podcast, and you had a line out the door for dumplings at the Whale that night. So, Khailing, you are the founder of Some Bar that is now open and impossible to get a reservation at, which is great news for you as a business owner. Where do you want to start in this journey, story?
Great question. I think the last hour, I was like, where are we going to start?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Thanks for coming. Really Thanks for coming. This is a new thing for both of us, so it's different to sit on this side of the mic. So I'm excited to ask the questions and not have to answer them. So,
well, then I'll have to go back and listen to your podcast where you answer the question.
You don't have to do that.
I might have to. But that pop-up was first of all, a really good time. Second of all, just really good people. And also it kind of feels like good people, good food, good conversations. It's like what
that's a good night
you guys are trying to do. Yeah, like for pop-ups, restaurants, this podcast. So thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Yeah. Without getting too serious and solemn, I grew up in Ohio.
What part?
Akron, Canton area.
Okay.
Yeah. So my last name is Neoh. Neoh, and my dad says it stands for Northeast Ohio, so I can never escape it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's a dad joke.
Oh, that's a
right?
good dad
That's
joke.
a good.
Yeah.
We were just talking about
Yeah.
it, and that's a good one.
It's not a mom joke; it's a dad joke.
You waited for that one.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's what I'm starting with.
That's a good one.
But yeah, Northeast Ohio, and then I went to college in Cleveland too. So South Carolina's a bit far from Ohio.
What did you study in Cleveland?
I studied chemical engineering.
Okay.
So
that was exhilarating.
It was so awesome. It was so easy. It was very.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
No, it was so difficult. Like the curve is 55%, and you have like the highest grade or something. But I mean, it was awesome. I learned so much.
And I'm assuming you graduated.
I did graduate.
Bachelor's.
The bachelor's, yeah. Yeah. It was.
That alone is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it's like it kind of gives you some street cred, where you started a restaurant, cool. We know nothing about you, but you studied chemical engineering. Oh, so you
not only
so
studied,
kind of smart.
Got a bachelor's in chemical engineering,
which is it's so backwards, because you meet somebody and it's like, oh, so you didn't think I was smart by starting a restaurant?
Oh my gosh.
Like, how many restaurants have you started? That's pretty hard. You know that, right?
Which is hilarious, because restaurant owners will say, if you start a restaurant, you're kind of stupid. Like, for starting a restaurant.
I think those are bad restaurant owners.
Maybe that's a good point.
I think people make the joke, people that have started businesses in general, I think people make the joke of you have to be stupid or crazy to do this. Now,
well, as all three of us know at this table, it's starting
hard.
a business is. You got to be crazy to do it.
Because you have to be resilient. Yeah. You have to be smart.
You got to be driven, ready to lose those nights of sleep. So there's so many things you got to give up. Yeah.
Sort of the half-hearted joke at the cocktail party is you got to be stupid to do this. But the reality is, you've got to be really smart, really dedicated, really driven.
Well, only so many people could do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't even get to this point.
Right.
Because there's a breaking point to everyone.
So what was the transition from Ohio to South Carolina? How did that happen? Why?
I think so. Out of college, I had already done 3 different internships, co-ops with chemical engineering, and it's a very it's a thankless job. It's dirty. It's you're working with chemicals. You're working manufacturing. It's like no windows. It's a scary place for someone as talkative and bubbly as me. I was like, I can't be in this setting. So then I went technical sales, thinking that's going to be my passion or something. But then when you're just selling, it feels really inauthentic. These relationships you're building are real, but the end goal is to sell more and to get something out of it. So there's a lot of traveling, communicating, and kind of pretending, because even if these people's values aren't aligned with mine, I just, I'm supposed to be your best friend. So it felt really rough doing that for I think it was almost 5 years I did that.
And you were selling chemicals. You were still in the field.
It's still in the field, yeah. Doing hydraulic equipment, pneumatic.
It's kind of hard to
equipment,
be
stuff
passionate about what you're selling in that environment. So there's I could see the nuance of I have to be everybody's best friend that I actually don't even know or like.
Well, yeah, and you think about who am I selling to?
Yeah.
The engineering and manufacturing environment, it's older white men. So I'm trying to relate, we're trying to be best friends, but I'm going to lose out to the other white guy that's has time to go golf with you. Which is fine. I don't need to pretend to be someone I'm not. But
I suck at golf, for the record.
I know. How are you at golf? Are you pretty good?
I just assumed you both were good.
No.
Because beards.
No,
I
beards
don't know.
mean bad at golf. I don't think you're allowed to have a beard and play golf.
What does beard mean you're good at? I don't know.
Beer.
Probably good at,
Eating food.
Yeah.
Beer is in the word beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that checks out.
Yeah, because beard is really, no one ever knew this, but it's B-E squared, A-R-D.
I'm starting to realize that beards are no longer in fashion. It shocked me too. Yeah.
Who said that?
It's everything. Everybody's going to the mustache.
Incorrect answer.
I'm not. Don't get me.
I'd have to start sleeping in the Tabby office if I shaved my beard. Do you have any rooms for rent at the
At
dumpling?
Sunbar?
Yeah, at Sunbar.
We do have a loft.
Oh yeah, perfect. I'll have
Yeah.
to move in there if I get rid of my beard. So just be ready for it.
I think it's actually shaved beard is the trend.
Yeah.
The close to the
Closer,
face.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing I don't really keep up with trends. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I could imagine that was a grueling experience. What was the catalyst that said, "I'm going to go to Greenville"?
Oh yes, you did ask this. I'm sorry.
Why? No, it's fine. But how Greenville?
Yeah.
Did you know people here, or
I
was there?
traveling, different rotations and training and traveling, and I was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and at the time it was Kevin, who's my husband now, but he was on a dating app and I was on a dating app. I don't know if you know anything about apps, but
Yeah, I've heard of them.
yeah, and dating and
Oh.
Is Tabby? Tabby's a dating app, right?
Tabby.
It can be used. It can be used as a dating app.
Yeah, perfect. That's
Yeah.
the newest
I
one.
heard of Tabby. Yeah.
Might be this little thing here or there.
If I were single, I'm Tabby would be a really cool feature, a good starting story.
It's an exciting,
Shameless plug.
shameless
Thank
plug.
you.
Yeah.
Tabby.
All right. Anyways, back to you and Kevin.
Yeah, I joke that we gave each other obligatory swipe rights because we were the only 2 Asian people in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
It's an automatic. Yeah.
I don't care what you look like. Also, he's a chemical engineer, so swipe right.
We have enough in common.
Yeah,
Here you
that's
go.
right. I trust you.
Yeah, that's funny.
So we started dating for 2 weeks. Not even dating. We were just hanging out for 2 weeks. And then I moved to Chicago and he moved to Greenville. And then eventually a year later, I met up with him in Greenville and we moved in together and the rest is history.
That's a cool story.
Yeah. And I had never heard of Greenville. I don't know where you all are from.
So let's back. How did Kevin get to Greenville?
Work. Chemicals.
So then, who was he working for?
BASF.
I'm just curious because I live in a world of chemicals. Sometimes owning a brewery,
Oh, that's true.
like
That's true.
but not a lot, but enough to know. So it's curious to see how he landed here too, to make this home. It wasn't for being on the top 10 of whatever magazine or whatever.
CNN
No,
and New
yeah,
York Times, and
it was
So you
work.
moved from Ohio to Greenville.
I was in Ohio, and then I lived in Chattanooga,
Okay,
and then I
Miss
lived
Chattanooga.
in Chicago.
Because I moved from Cincinnati to Greenville.
Oh, I didn't give you that opportunity to tell me about.
No. So I moved a lot. There's plenty of that on other episodes, and we can catch up after. But grew up in North Carolina, but I had never heard of Greenville, South Carolina. It was like, okay, I guess I'm going there. It was like an assignment that I just quit that job and never.
Well,
never
Kevin
back.
had the options of Greenville, Detroit, and Baton Rouge, and Baton Rouge would have been cool.
Baton Rouge. My sister lives in New Orleans, and I go down at least once a year. I love,
It's probably a good visit.
it's a real good visit. I
mean,
don't think I could
you had
live
You
there.
had a Mardi Gras themed wedding, so yeah.
I did, but I think it'd be a hard place to live. I'm the same, right? I grew up in the Northeast, in New Hampshire, D.C., split my time.
Maryland.
Not Maryland. I do not claim
Maryland owns DC, right?
Well, I was actually, when I was born, my parents were living in Maryland.
Yeah.
I claim D.C.
Heard.
But still ended up like Spartanburg, Greenville. It's just,
Well, the Baton
Yeah.
Rouge part of it is like all the chemical factories and oil refineries. That area is called Cancer Row, and there's just constant fires and
Oh.
explosions, and like they pay you big bucks to live there. So that's where we would have lived. So I'm happy with Greenville for sure.
Yeah.
gave up the big bucks for better scenery.
So
You
how
get it?
long?
Yeah.
How long have you been in Greenville?
We moved in 2019, or I moved in 2019, right
Okay.
before the Panini.
So I moved in 2020. So same time, about 3 years.
Yeah, and
3 to 4 years.
were you doing Tabby at that time?
No. So I was actually working for a restaurant operations group that we'll unname for right now.
Oh, I was gonna say it.
I moved around a little bit, but
Southern Hibachi.
yeah. So it's funny. Well, no. So it was different than that. That's that. So I left that to come to Greenville.
Oh,
I don't know why we're being so elusive. I left Waffle House to come to Taco Bell. I was working
yeah.
for a Taco
That was
Bell.
my second. Was
Yeah.
like, how high do you have to get to go buy food? That was the next
Yeah.
clue I was gonna leave
Yeah.
for food.
But anyway, so I was in Greenville and quickly met my wife and quickly sort of, I worked for that company for a year, but in the process sort of had the idea of Tabby. And it was kind of one of those things that I wanted to do. And so I started doing it. And when the transition happened, instead of my girlfriend at the time being like, "Oh, you're going to go do this thing that doesn't make any money right now." What? Instead, she brought home a bottle of champagne and was like, "Go do this. This is really cool."
We love a supportive partner.
Yeah, no, I think that you have to have, all of us at this table have a supportive partner. And if you don't, I don't know that you get as far as any of us have.
That's a great point.
In the business world.
Truly.
I know enough of your story that you couldn't have survived.
I know. I don't know
Without
why I
a
don't know
sword.
your story. I just found out more of your story tonight.
We'll do a whole episode of that.
It's on my list.
Maybe we should be co-hosts.
We should.
Tonight is about Khailing.
Yeah. Let's jump back. Let's jump.
We
back
will
into it.
we will do an episode of my story.
Well, what I was going to say is with the way that it works when you own your own small business is you are the, CEO, CFO, CMO, like you are running basically a small corporation by yourself until you can afford hiring more people. And it's so much work because you're doing the books, the hiring, the firing, the inventory. You're like every single position. And you want to I don't know how you would be single. Like, how would you get laundry done? How would you do your taxes and do all the things without the support of a partner?
I'm fortunate to say that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if that's possible. I think you have to have, and you certainly can't have an unsupportive partner.
Sure.
There's I think
And you can't be dating.
Dating's
Running a
tough.
small business with just opening, there is no.
unless you like happen to meet the right person in the middle of that, and it was serendipitous. But so you've been in Greenville since 2019. Where did the inspiration for Some Bar come from?
So 2020.
COVID year? Was that COVID? 2020
Yeah,
was
March
COVID?
2020
Yeah.
was
Is
COVID.
that
Yep, March 2020 was COVID.
okay?
St. Patty's weekend was the last weekend of partying.
Yeah, March 19th. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that year was the eye opener for so many people in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just honestly, I hate to say silver lining. That's the worst thing to say. It's more so like the time and the introspection that we were granted was so valuable. And I don't know that a lot of people do that on a regular basis. But I was like, what is going on? Why am I doing this? I've been in a job that I hate for 5 years, but I won't get a new job because it pays well, because I travel. What actually matters? And I missed my family. I missed cooking for people because you lose that social aspect, right? When you're isolating and you don't get to cook for people. And the things that were important to me, it just made sense to feed people and kind of bring the foods that I was missing to my friends locally. And also knowing that Greenville is a growing city that wants more. They want more diversity. They want more events. They want more food. They want more beer. It wants a lot more. So I feel like if it wasn't Greenville, if it wasn't 2020, and if it wasn't maybe me, like searching for community because I just moved here, I didn't know anyone like you, and all those things made sense to be like, let's feed the people and let's get to know Greenville and see if this would work. So then pop-ups started and people loved it. People were so excited to support something and to try new food and wait in line for
because I think at
something.
that time, I mean, growing up in the Northeast and where I grew up, Boston, D.C., right, we had dumpling houses aplenty. You moved down here, there was really none of that. So I think it was something people were missing. And people in Greenville love culture. Mm-hmm. They love something new, and they love something they haven't tried before, and especially in food. So
There was a seismic shift socially in the world in 2020. I've often described it as and I resonate a lot with what you were just saying. I felt that I was on a treadmill in my previous career that was on elevation 20, speed 8, whatever it is, and you're just running, and you're running uphill. And
Why?
But then COVID was a chance to like get off of that treadmill and stand beside it and look at the treadmill that you're running on and see like how janky and broken it is and go, why am I doing that? And then you're like, I'm not getting back on that treadmill. What else is around? I gotta figure something else out, you know? Like I think that a large population of people got off of that treadmill in 2020 and said, no. And a lot of businesses and a lot of employees realized that like we're gonna operate differently now. Mm-hmm. Things are gonna change for the better. There's more conversation of ESG. There's more conversation of like, are we taking care of our employees?
pay rate,
Are we
benefits.
doing like?
Yeah, I mean,
we're working our like people are like working like dogs. Are we like? There was a seismic shift socially, corporately, like all over the world, and the smart, hardworking people like yourself, like you, all of us took advantage of that, and now you're like you kind of blink and you go, oh, now here I am. Like, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. I think we're all kind of in like, what do we do now?
I think
it's 2023, by the way. It's been 3 years, almost 3 years, like last weekend. It's the past 3 years has been crazy. I mean, it really has. Like,
It's been a world reset.
felt like 10 years worth.
It's
COVID 2020 COVID feels like it was a million years ago.
It's the only event that I can remember in my lifetime that the entire world resonates with. I'm not that old. None of us are. But like, that's a big event. Like, it's the biggest event in our lifetime that's happened.
Which I agree with you, like worldwide, because certain wars and tragedies and
Sure.
issues are like very centric to
Regional,
certain areas. Yeah.
It affected every human on this earth.
And it was so crazy to see the different, how it affected different areas, right? So like my mom in the Northeast, it was completely different up there than down here. Or Costa Rica, all these different areas and how different communities came together to support or to change or to see some kind of development, So it was, it was crazy.
I don't know. I hate that we just got sidetracked on COVID, but I don't know that we can talk about your business without talking about that.
Truly.
It was a catalyst for kind of your decision making. So
When you first came up, the pop-up we did at the Whale, that was 21? Was that 2 years ago or is that 22?
I think it was 21.
Yeah, it was.
So I mean, was that when things for you with your pop-up was really just because I feel like when we did a rice lager with the Whale, Magnetic South Whale collab, it was like, hey, let's figure out a food. We looked for some German food because we thought it would be fun, and they were like, rice lager. Oh, some bars doing pop-ups. Let's get them. And I feel like that was really you were just starting to really kick off your pop-ups, if I'm not mistaken. You had maybe done a bunch before, but not really like every weekend.
Oh, right.
So how did you get to like that point of, hey, let's do these pop-ups. Let's have this restaurant,
Or
Yeah.
like, where did even
the pop-ups.
yeah, where did even like the restaurants start?
Let's see how many questions we can ask you at once without getting an answer.
Okay, rapid fire. Good. I basically, the more I thought about it and the crazier it was, my really good friend from college who like invested in Bitcoin super early, he's just like, this, like money is not the goal, but the catalyst to like do more things in life.
Yeah.
So he was really reassuring me, like, whatever it is you want to do, I believe in you as a person. I invest in people, not ideas.
So cool.
Huge.
So-
That is huge.
Yeah.
It's almost like permission.
Yeah. Like
You're
you
almost given
trust me.
permission to go like, oh wait, you think that I'm not crazy? Like, I have your permission. I don't need your permission.
You want to see me
and your
succeed?
permission doesn't matter, but like,
Well, like
have
you're
it?
doing such a shift, like such a leap of faith that
Yeah.
like someone's gonna back it with actual dollars. That's proof of concept first,
Sure.
and then secondly,
And it feels good,
Should we
doesn't
do
it?
it?
When someone's like, hey, I believe in you. Here's some hard cash or whatever.
yeah,
And you're just like, oh. If
But-
that's the first time you've heard that, it's as a business owner for myself, I've on that hunt for money to do whatever you want to do, and someone is finally like, you know what? I believe in you. I'll take that leap of faith with you. Mm-hmm. Here you go.
and what's so funny is he has money, and his goals now are, how do I get my friends to make a ton of money?
That's huge.
Yeah, so he's like, this is how I think you're going to make a ton of money. Not that that's the driving factor, but his motivator, he believes in it. So he's like, let's do it. And not to get into the whole sob story, but like my parents, my grandparents, they were in the restaurant business. They sold Chinese food, like sweet and sour chicken, General Tso's, because they are in Ohio. They're going to sell things that they think will keep the lights on, right? Which is like Chinese American food. They're not selling like mapo tofu, like Sichuan. They're not selling even soup dumplings because they're like, it might flop here, and we don't have the funds to risk a flop. So we're going to sell what we think will sell. So my parents, even though they got college degrees, they didn't feel the confidence to get any jobs with those degrees. So they went into restaurants. So I've basically been raised in restaurants. And my friend who invested in me, he knows that I never saw my parents. They were just busy. They were working 100 hours a week. Like, I didn't see them. And I raised my sister. So he knows that if I set my mind to something, it'll get done. So like the tenacity is there, the resilience is there.
So where did the shift happen from I'm going to do pop-ups to I'm going to open a restaurant? I'm going to get a lease. I'm going to find a place and I'm going to do this.
So this might be a secret, but we always were going to be a restaurant. And
Good.
I think people thought we were like just popping up just for fun.
No, you always had the Sun Bar.
Yeah.
So that was just the beginning of like, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. Okay, so let me ask a different question. What started the I'm going to open a restaurant?
I think it was like the course of 2 weeks of like really getting this idea. And I think for anyone who wants to start a business, once it latches, there's nothing. You just got to do it.
It's a parasite. It's
It
a
is.
parasite in
It's
your
a leech.
brain. Yeah, it's
It's not going to go away. So I met AJ, who owns Sovereign Plant Store on the West End. If you know AJ, he introduced me to Nikki, who was doing Takam pop-ups. Do you know Takam? Filipino food.
No,
Great person.
but I want to.
Yes. She introduced me to Alex of GB&D.
Okay.
Do you know GB&D?
Golden brown.
Golden
and
brown.
Delicious.
Very good.
Very good.
A+.
Heirloom tomatoes, homegrown on a burger. Come on now.
Local.
That
beef.
fried chicken sandwich.
Can you help me get
Veggies.
them on the podcast?
And it's shameless plug. I'm pretty sure it's Providence Farm beef that they use on all their sandwiches. Donald and Colleen, shout out to y'all.
On the podcast.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
some great people out there at Providence
So
Farms,
many cool people.
and
Yeah.
some good beef. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and like he is so great at sourcing everything local. Like when you get their salad, that's like local, seasonal, fresh, great stuff. Anyways, he helped me host my first pop-up, and without him, without the local small businesses of Greenville like pushing my Instagram, we wouldn't have the following we have today. I could have just opened a restaurant quietly, had like 1,000 followers on Instagram or something, and just tried to see what happened. But because we had the support of the local businesses and we had all these pop-ups, we just grew and grew.
You've
It was
built an
awesome.
unbelievable demand, and we were kind of talking about this off camera of like, there's not the same demand, or there's the same demand. There's not the same access to really authentic, good Chinese food in the Southeast. And so the demand that I'm talking about is for like a year. I saw you at house parties. Like you're just like out there hustling in somebody's kitchen,
Slinging dumplings.
just slinging dumplings
Slinging
in like big parties, and it was delicious.
slanging.
Slanging.
Slanging
Dumpling.
the
You're at
dumplings.
no, but there is something, that grind, that ambition, that drive. It's impressive.
Thank you. I think it was the perfect mix of 2020, very like emotional Khailing, like what's my values, right? And I love marketing. I love people. I have the privilege of going to college. I have the privilege of being young, so I know what young people want. I know what they want to see. I know what like vibes they want at the restaurant.
Because you know what you like.
Yeah, and I have the knowledge and the privilege of my parents and grandparents owning restaurants. So it was like this, like all these great mesh things. And Greenville's so ready for dumplings. You know,
It is really ready for dumplings.
like they love the
Yeah.
little
I'm
lady food truck.
I'm ready for dumplings.
Yeah, and who doesn't love a dumpling? It's dough and meat and flavor and
Soup
sauce.
sometimes.
Soup in there.
I mean,
Yeah, so
it makes
was
me
like a
angry
perfect storm.
how much I want dumplings right now.
So let's. So we've danced around it. You opened some bar on what day?
Oh gosh,
What was the date? What was the official date?
like the restaurant.
Yeah, the restaurant. So
So our Lunar New Year, celebration grand opening was January 21st.
okay.
And that was like, we made over.
2 months ago today.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Happy 2 months. Happy
High five.
60 days.
You made it. You're still doing it.
Thanks. We made over 10,000 dumplings. So I have a great
The first
team.
day?
Well, so we stockpiled for 2 weeks for that Lunar New Year celebration. I think we had over 2,000 people come to the property. And we had like We had like 20 vendors. We had
And back
Pendleton
up,
Place.
your space is located on East Washington, next to Fire Forge Brewery, right on the storefront, right up front on the street.
Good location.
Great location between Swanson's Warehouse, Fire Forge. There you are.
Yeah, we're all connected and we all work really well together, and we have awesome ideas for like future events and like properties type stuff.
Perfect.
So that whole property, we want to name it something. And we had like
The
2,000 people show
Dumpling
up.
Warehouse.
Love it. Beer brewery.
Yeah. Dumpling Beer Brewery.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Soup.
Nailed it. Soup.
Yeah.
Soup.
I think someone wanted to call it the alley,
Oh, yeah.
but I kind of like the block.
I like the block.
I could think of 3 other places that are the. I mean, there's like.
Bradley doesn't like the block.
How do you differentiate?
Well, there's the block house. So maybe that's why you don't like the block.
I don't know. I have no emotion towards it. It's fine.
We'll sit
And I
on
would
it.
say the district, but anyways.
So you've been
10,000 dumplings. Wait,
Yeah.
let's 10,000 dumplings opening weekend.
10,000 dumplings.
Was this one day?
Yeah, it was just from
10,000 dumplings in one day.
I think it was 5 p.m. to midnight, and we had like 3 food trucks, and Table 301 was there, and
That's a lot
bunch
of
of
dumplings.
vendors.
How many dumplings were left at the end of that?
So people were waiting in line for, I think at the longest point, it was an hour and a half. It was like wrapped around. And the last person in line walks up. They're like, "Do you have any dumplings left?" And
Please, sir, can I have some more?
and we gave them the last bowl of dumplings.
You served 10,000 dumplings
Over.
in less than 12 hours.
Yeah. Like slanging.
Slanging.
Yeah. It was awesome. And it was for Lunar New Year, which is like the
That is
biggest
insane.
celebration.
That is an order of dumplings. If I come up and let me get an order of pork dumplings. How many dumplings do I get in my bowl? On my plate?
6.
I was going to say 6.
But at Lunar New Year, we did 6 dumplings, 2 shumai, which is the most popular dim sum item. It's a shrimp and pork dumpling. So 6 dumplings, 2 shumai, and a sesame ball, I think it was. We had
Those sesame balls are fire, by the way.
thank you.
I've already put my reservation in for a chef event for all of us.
Chef event. Tasting.
10,000. That is a crazy number of dumplings. So what'd you do the next day, right? So you opened on a Friday, Saturday. Do you remember the
So the
day
next
of the
day,
week?
we took out all our cash, we laid it on the ground, and we swam in it.
Oh, perfect. Did you go to Walmart and buy one of those hard plastic kiddie pools?
Yeah.
Like,
I just did snow angels and all
that
my...
you would like normally fill with dumplings.
Did you
instead
plan your
filled with
retirement
cash.
vacation too?
No, we donated a huge chunk of it to Pendleton Place, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
That's huge.
I mean,
That's cool.
I'm all about community and like being a big part of like everybody, like what do you need? What do they need? What do I need? Like, let's all remind each other that we live in the same space.
Yeah.
Like, we can all help each other out. But other than that, like, yeah, we didn't open our doors until 2 weeks later, just so because I'm all about customer service and like guest experience. So unless it's right, I don't want to serve you like a half-baked experience.
So you've been open for 2 months. Since we've been together for the last couple hours, your phone rings nonstop for reservations. How is it? The demand is there. The supply you're making work. What's the balance been like for you of like trying to settle in to like, okay, we're open. The ship is at sea. We're going to experience different storms and things, but like we're a sail. How do you feel today?
Great analogy. I feel, okay, so objectively, we're doing really well. Like, I'm very grateful.
I hear that.
I have an awesome staff. I trust them so much. They're so talented.
Are they running the restaurant right now? Or you guys? What's Tuesday? You're closed. We're all closed on Tuesday.
We're all close.
We're in the southeast.
No, I'm not able to not be there just yet.
Yeah.
Because I have control issues.
Yeah.
This is like our livelihood.
That's okay though. This is your flagship.
And you're a
gonna
one-woman
have
show?
I'm just going to throw it out there. You're going to have more. There's going to be more
Restaurants?
than one sun bar.
Ooh.
I don't. I'm just guessing, so I'm not putting anything out there. But
Do you want to invest?
I mean, hopefully, maybe one day.
Get in line. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah, no,
That's awesome.
I will gladly get at the end of that line because I hope that there's no. It's an awesome. It's different. It's a new concept. There's
It's
other,
a great concept.
There's other dumpling houses. There's not another Bar.
Oh, thank you.
There's not another Khailing that's doing the thing that you're doing.
Yeah,
and
I
that's what's
think-
cool about it.
I think where the opportunity is small towns and medium-sized towns. Like, we don't have the same options as we do in Atlanta and New York City and DC, Maryland. Like, we
That's an inside joke.
Yeah, pointing off camera to the Georgia behind the camera.
So the people who do come from diverse places, they come here and they're like, I love it. It's great. Outdoors, family life, schools. But where are the soup dumplings?
Where's the Thai restaurants?
Yeah, where's the
good sushi?
Ethiopian?
Yeah.
Where's the, So that's
There is not
really-
a good Ethiopian restaurant that I
And
know
I'm
of here.
always on the hunt, right? I know the good Colombian, now the new dumpling place in town.
So Cousin and I are going to do a restaurant tour.
Nice.
I'm already a restaurateur.
You guys are gonna
But we
watch-
got to do a restaurant
Tabby
tour.
Hour podcast is going to watch Cousin and Brad eat a lot of food
Eat a
Nice.
lot of food
Nice.
on site.
on site.
Hey, we love this office.
We're taking it mobile.
Can
Georgia
I
and
throw
Jenny can come too, but
can I
they
throw
might
in
have to pay.
A fun fact is I learned that, like, I don't know if Thailand, if it's like a president or a king, but some like 50 years back, the president or king of Thailand was like, I'm going to send thousands of people out into the world, and you are going to open restaurants in every nook and cranny of the world, especially America. And so that's why when you go to small towns, you still see Thai restaurants. And the Thai food is not that far from traditional Thai food. You're getting like similar flavors, similar dishes. You still see pad ki mao, like that's how you say it.
They're all called Thai restaurants.
They're all called
Only
Thai
the good ones are called Thai restaurants.
Yeah, Augusta Road, my favorite Thai restaurant in Greenville.
Thai restaurant.
Thai
Thai
restaurant.
restaurant.
And people, I'm like, hey,
Kanikas.
let's go to Thai restaurant. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, what
They're like-
Thai
they're
restaurant?
like, oh,
and
I
it's
thought
like,
you meant-
no,
yeah.
no. It's called Thai restaurant.
But like he did it. He freaking you get Thai food anywhere you want. But Chinese food, when you think Chinese food in like southern, I don't know, South Carolina, you're thinking like sweet and sour chicken.
It's such
And
a
it's hard here in the Southeast, just being from the Northeast, to find American Chinese food that I want to eat, right? Like growing up in DC, that hard Northeast, it's probably the different like dialects of Chinese food, rather whether it's Cantonese or whatever. I think the food changes, and I have not found like the Americanized Chinese food that I really want here in Greenville.
How funny is it that we're sitting here in a country of less than 400 million people when like we act like we're the biggest? Like,
Well,
there's
I mean-
billions of people.
but
in
we
Southeast Asia.
set the tone. We set the stage, and like we set the trend.
We are the pace setter.
Truly, like all these other countries, like they have their own cultures, but the
And
young people
there's
are
so
like
many billions of people.
they're looking at America.
Yeah.
Wait, what were you saying? What Chinese American foods are you wanting?
I want like better than what we're having. I don't know. Like there's just
More
something
authentic.
No, I wouldn't even say authentic, right? Because I think
I
like
think I see what you're saying.
New York Chinese food is different from Greenville, South Carolina Chinese food.
Yeah,
it's
pizza,
just there's a
pizza at Joe's in Manhattan is different than New York style pizza in Greenville. South
exactly, but it's the,
The water
same for
tastes
Chinese
different.
food. It is all in the
It's
water.
almost
But
like
even
wine.
like General Tso's chicken here is different than in like on 12th Street in DC. Like it's just different.
What's your thoughts on
I
that?
see what you're saying. It's like
And there's no Chinatown in Greenville. You can't go to Chinatown in like in DC over
You gotta
by the
step up to the
convention
mic.
center.
oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I was like,
No,
how
you're,
much
you're already going to eat the mic.
Sorry.
But there's no Chinatown here. Like, where are you supposed to go get your soup dumplings or your like crispy fried duck or like
So
It's hard.
I think you have actually like a wide knowledge of Chinese food, which is really cool. So you have
I love all Asian food.
Yeah, so
like you know,
you have the duck, you have the soup dumplings. That's like traditional Chinese food, and then you have the sweet and sour chicken, which is the American Chinese food. And you're saying the American Chinese food here is not as good as the American Chinese food.
no, it's
in DC.
bullshit. I mean,
I
just
hear
to
what
like
you're saying.
plain and simple, it's. I feel like they don't try hard enough here because there's not enough competition or want. People are willing to settle for Great Wall and Cherrydale, which, like, I mean, I'm not trying to shout anyone out, but it's just not the same as you go up to 13th Street in DC and you get X place, but then 4 blocks down you have the next competition.
I think that comes with real estate.
I think so. Sorry, my example was going to be Skyline Chili, Cincinnati. I was walking through Harris Teeter last week, and I saw Skyline Chili frozen in Harris Teeter.
It's almost as good.
Almost exactly. So if
Yeah.
you were to get Skyline like fresh in Cincinnati compared to the
Do you
frozen
like
meals,
Skyline?
you know, I
I
respect
call it dog food.
Skyline.
I call it dog food on noodles.
I respect it.
I've
though.
had it. It's like Whitey's. You know, White Castle.
White Castle. You call it Whitey's.
Whitey's.
Really funny.
Yeah, that's the Midwest term. I lived in Cincinnati.
Whitey's.
It's Whitey's and Skyline.
Yeah.
You get a suitcase of 30 rack of sandwiches on the way home. No, it's not. I mean, it's not a.
Well,
The suitcase was the best part of that whole story because no one down here.
No,
when
a
I
suitcase
moved down
of
here,
30
I was
sandwiches.
like, "Where's the 30 rack?" And people were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "30 beers in a case, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had the 30 rack at Whitey's where you get 30 sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
And you got 3-4 buddies, and it's like, we're hungry.
You can still get a 30 rack at Crystal's too.
Does Crystal still
Crystals.
exist?
Of course it. Whoa.
They're going out of business. They've been shutting a lot of them down.
Whoa. Hopefully
That's a whole other. We should edit that out. Oh my gosh.
Whataburger's coming to Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
is it really?
That's great.
Oh
news.
yeah.
That's great.
You know
That's
Whataburger?
Yeah, I know Whataburger.
Texas Whataburger?
Yeah,
Breakfast burrito. You want green or red sauce? That's the only question
Yo.
they ask. It's like both.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, big sidetrack.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fall back, Let me look at my notes up there.
I was just gonna
Oh
say.
yeah, let's talk about this. Is something we talked about off camera, and this is, I think, very important to work-life balance. You had mentioned that you are still 2 months in, 3 months into operating the restaurant on site, brick and mortar. You're still working every shift. Where do you see yourself in 6 months being a step away? If you think you'll be able to step away, or when you think you will, to step back, watch it all happen, and not have to be there. I mean, that's an important thing for a big work-life balance in my eyes. So
A great goal.
big
To
goal,
have.
huge.
That would be great. I mean, right now, being only open 3 days a week, I essentially have 4 days to recover.
But I'm sure 50% of that is spent
what's-
in prep, right? Like you're a one woman show, sole owner, like in there grinding it out.
Is that the reason why only 3 days is the prep?
It's
It
the
goes into-
prep.
yeah.
Yeah. Imagine like
Can we
3
go,
types of dumplings, a bao.
Can we
like
go into
shrimp
detail
toast.
on like the prep that it takes for?
Yeah, we can. It's really stressful. It's
Is
Yeah,
there-
so that's
Yeah,
a
I
perfect
mean-
like the work-life balance, but also like what is the work like? What is the work that you do for 4 days to prepare for those 3 days that are huge?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you, even though you like,
'Cause
you're only
managing
open,
a-
you're only
managing
open
is-
3 days a week, but it's
Yeah.
like you're working 7 days a week.
And managing it is only 25% of the problem.
Yeah.
Managing the restaurant. And
Once
then,
the door unlocks, it's almost like an autopilot. It just happens.
Yeah, it's like it's really tough. We have over 40 employees, which you have to know is a lot, right? You know.
I mean, I have 40 employees with 2 stores.
Yeah. So 20 is an average one store.
And we
Yeah.
have a 10,000 square
it's
foot
like-
building. You know,
okay.
you're in what, 4,000 maybe?
1,800.
So you start.
Wow.
So you start on okay. What days are you open?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday,
and
Saturday.
then
So what's
Sunday?
walk me through Sunday at opening. What time is opening and what happens?
So ideally Sunday is brunch.
Okay.
Everyone arrives at like 9. We open at 11. We push. We
Bacon,
close.
egg, and cheese dumplings.
Exactly.
Perfect.
That would crush.
I know people would. Yeah. No, and dim sum is brunch food.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
like it's the same menu, which is nice. But let's say we close at 2. We deep clean on Sundays until like
Wait.
5.
So you're 11 to 2. That's your Sunday. Mm-hmm. How many dumplings are you selling? 11 to 2. Like just, I don't need an like you're not selling 10,000.
I would say no, like per table, we're selling anywhere from 6 to 12. So it's not a ton.
Okay.
It's not, if we were selling one dumpling, we'd be fine. But we're selling 3 different types of dumplings and a bao and sesame balls and pork sesame balls and shrimp toast.
All
So
of
this
these
is all
things
prep.
are super
And you're making-
prep inducive.
Yeah.
And you're making everything in house. You're not buying
Yes, thank
anything
you.
pre-made. You're making the bao buns. You're making the dumplings. Like,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
are you rolling the dumpling paper? Are you buying the paper?
The wrappers are the only thing that we don't make in house. If we were, we
But
would.
still,
It'd
you're
be
you're
ridiculous.
laying the paper out,
Keep you
putting
open
the
one day a
pork
week.
on. You're folding it by hand, pressing it,
Mm-hmm.
frying it, or boiling or whatever.
Yeah, so we're really limited by how much we can make in 1 week. Eventually, we'll get it to like a well-oiled machine. But like, just for example, our baos are the most time-intensive items. So it's pork shoulder marinated for at least 12 hours. Okay, so like we have like, let's say 40 pounds of pork shoulder marinating. Next day, we slow roast it. We have to cut it all up. Then we have to make the sauce for it, which takes about 2 hours. Then we mix it all together. Then we have to make the dough for the baos. The bao dough probably takes about 2 hours, like rise and everything. We wrap. Wrapping takes so long because you have to hand roll each wrapper. Then you fold it. And then you let that rise for an hour. And then you steam it. And then you freeze it. So then when comes service time, it just takes 10 minutes to steam and it's out the door. But that whole process takes anywhere from like 2 to 3 days.
I mean, just as a guy that knows how to smoke pork and barbecue, that's a 12-hour process that's 3 days you just described.
Yeah.
To get the frozen product that's then I mean, most restaurants get the delivery in their truck in their freezer on Wednesdays.
And they're ready to cook that night.
On Friday night, right? Like, so you're making these things from scratch.
We actually put it at the bottom of our menu, like everything in-house is handmade and prepared fresh to be delivered to your table.
That's incredible.
So
Like, it's incredible that you're getting a pork shoulder.
to a bao.
And then how?
And then
There's so much I want to know. What's your average ticket time? So, I come in, and this is a restaurateur question. What's your Friday evening? What's your average, 30 minutes? I can expect to sit down and wait for my food to come. I mean,
5 minutes.
yeah, it's
And
quick,
I'm talking about
it's quick
all-
serve. So people are like, "What? You're steaming dumplings? How long does that take?" No, it takes 3 days.
3
honey.
days, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
we make everything fresh and we freeze it so that when we serve it, it's quick. But people are ordering multiple rounds. They're ordering like 2 to 4 rounds.
I know when we did our event, I think I had 4 different orders of food.
So how has the opening been received for something like that? Like you're open 3 days a week. That's kind of confusing.
It is. People don't like it.
Understandable if they know the whole story. But what's the reception been from the community for that?
It's like creating its own demand, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I think in this area, people are kind of used to instant gratification.
Quick service.
It's really hard for some people to understand.
Give
some
me
people
my
are mad.
give me my burger frozen throw that thing 3 minutes, give it. No, it's sad. But
Throw
it's
some
true.
onion rings on it. Put it in a cardboard box. You guys,
I've said this
But
from
I
the
think
beginning. People in America, there should be, like Germany has a mandatory military or religious service. There should be a mandatory service industry work in this country.
Like in high school.
Like people are assholes that
They don't
don't
get it.
understand service industry. They don't get it.
I think everyone at the age of 15 should have to work in some kind of retail establishment.
For a day, a week, a month, whatever it
summer.
is.
A year.
A
summer.
You know, I'm not going to be a regulator ever.
Are
but
we like, do we sound old though? Are we like
Yeah,
kids these days?
we
need
are.
to-
I think that's the natural progression of life, though. I think that you experience things and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I understand now why my dad was the way he was, or my mom. You know, like we
We are our parents.
we all do that, and it's just the natural progression. So
I think that people wanting to come eat at the restaurant is amazing. Like, this is such a great problem to have. Like, people want to come
the best.
and spend their money.
Your 3-day week, right? You're doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It is very, I think, typical, and I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand, of Southern barbecue. If you look at a lot of original Southern barbecue restaurants, they're only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
yeah,
That's a good point.
Smoke and Pig in Easley, South Carolina.
Great barbecue.
Great example. Great barbecue. They're open 3 days a week
3 days a week.
because but you know what? You drive by on Monday, the smokestack's going.
And you can see the hard work.
Just
It's the same.
You're doing the same thing.
Same thing, you know, that's why it's. I guess the only reason it's difficult for people to understand is because it's a different food topic. It's a different food group, right? They're like, oh, it's a dumpling. How hard is it? You steam it or you fry it. They don't understand that the work of going into rolling it and making the pork and making the filling like that takes days and hours and love, hatred, yelling, spend time away from family. Like, they just don't get that. Like, what is formed into this perfection, steamed paper product,
He loves it.
dipped
He
into
really
plum
wants-
sauce with sesame seeds and
This is now an ASMR.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
No, I hear you. Okay.
sometimes filled with hot soup that burns your mouth like the Hot Pocket. Or, I mean, they just don't understand. You know, as a foodie, I hate it for them. Sorry, this is about you.
This is about us.
It's about you and your
our
love affair with
relationship. Yeah,
food,
you
man.
and your with soup dumplings.
I
Specifically
would
soup
sexually
dumplings.
eat a food dumpling right now
food
on this
dumpling.
on this podcast.
We have a business called Coffee, who's subleasing our space.
Tell us about that.
So Monday
I know
through
nothing about
Thursday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Coffee will be open inside some bar. They're open now.
Breakfast dumplings.
Yes.
Ooh.
Is that a
We're-
promise if I come tomorrow?
Come tomorrow.
Tomorrow's an early request, I think.
They will
For
have
you, it's not. For us, it is.
true. They will have GB&D 5-spice donuts,
Oh wow! So they're okay.
which are
Collab
heckin'
with
great.
GB&D.
And then eventually we will have Chinese pastries and Chinese breakfast.
Do you,
Okay,
tell us a
wait,
little bit
yeah.
about their coffee. Are they doing?
No, I want to know more about Chinese pastries and donuts. This is a new world.
A whole new world.
It's a whole new world. Cue that song. Pause.
So hold on. I'm coming there tomorrow for breakfast.
Tomorrow.
GB&D.
No, coffee.
Coffee with GB&D pastries.
Donuts, yeah.
Donuts, yeah. Uh-huh. So I think that in closing, thinking about, as everybody in Greenville wants to get a reservation at some bar, right? And that's evident as it's a good problem to have, as you've said. What's next? What's the best way to get a reservation? What's the best way to
You still doing pop-ups? Like what's going on?
How do we do
Okay,
a private
let
event?
me
I'm just trying to think.
Spitfire.
Yeah.
So
Do
best,
like a shameless plug.
best
Yeah.
way to get a reservation is every Sunday night at 6 p.m. I'm gonna drop
Call your personal cell phone number.
no, stop, don't.
It is 353.
621 5737.
George Sink.
Yeah.
Don't be a dink.
999.
Call George Sink.
999. 6 p.m. on Sundays is regularly when I want to drop more reservations.
Okay.
Other than that,
What's that website?
so
where,
like-
where are we dropping those resis?
At Resi?
at resi.com.
Okay.
You can also join our email list, which we will email you when we're about to drop. But there's a lot of people on the email list too.
You want that? Start dropping coupons.
We have a lot, yeah.
So you have a really interesting story that we did not even dive into today. As a whole, like you as a person, the entrepreneur that you are, that's now business owner and everything. This was really fun.
This was really fun.
We're gonna do this
Big
again.
casual.
do it
I
again.
love
It was really fun.
Next time
Beer
we're
bar.
doing it at
But
Some bar.
we haven't told the full story of some bar. We haven't told the full story of Khailing, and that's okay. You'll just
okay.
be a recurring guest. But as we close out, what is the thing that you want to walk away with the community of Greenville knowing about you and your business? Like what's the end shameless plug?
Our company motto is everyone deserves to be seen, heard, and celebrated. And everyone should feel safe and welcome inside our restaurant. I want people to know that our space is not our space. We rent the space. We pay for the space. So there shouldn't be any time where the space is empty. We should be doing stuff all the time. I want to do Tuesday pop-ups. So different chefs, different people can come and take over our kitchen and sell what they want to sell. We're going to do markets. We're going to do late night events. We're going to do private karaoke. Just like, why does it need to be empty? You know, like everyone should feel like, oh, you know what? I'm going to have a book club meeting. We're going to do it at some bar. Why not?
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Community.
Khailing, this was a lot of fun, and this is a perfect example of why Tabby Hour exists. It's just to meet people in the community that are doing cool stuff. That's really cool.
Thank
So, it's my wife.
my wife.
Hey, babe, you want to be on Tabby Hour?
Do I want to be on Tabby?
Well, you are now.
I
You're,
don't have anything interesting to talk about.
no,
Hey.
you're literally on the show right now.
We're live. We're recording.
We're live. We're recording you.
No. You need to edit me out.
Sorry. I'll call you back. Love you.
Okay, love you, bye.